Hello, everyone. First thing first, thank you for attending. Overall, Danila. Hopefully, you guys have attending the different workshops and having a good time overall. Just learning how to be not only a better executive board member, but also seeing like what are some things you guys want to implement within your student chapter. So more specifically within our workshop, we're going to be talking more about succession planning and election procedures. Just kind of give you a rundown of how to basically overall how to have a good academic year, effective planning, and as well procedures on how to handle election within your student chapter. So first thing first, we'll do a quick introduction. So my name is Eddie Reyes. I am a fifth year major in electrical computer engineering at North Carolina State University, go Pack. And I served as the chapter president last academic school year for 2024 and 2025.
Hey everyone, my name is Angie Mendez. I'm a senior studying chemical engineering. I was this past school year's NC State's Community Outreach Chair, and I'm privileged and honored to say that I'm this year's chapter president. Succession planning.
Succession planning. So, what does this mean? So the first thing first, in quote, effective planning sets the foundation for a successful year. So what does this mean to you guys? So as you may know, within your as a student leader, you have 1 year to set aside your goals, right? To know exactly what type of initiative, what type of goals you would like to see for the student chapter, and from there you want to execute and make meaningful impact, right? So that's what succession planning is all about. And it also provides you guys different opportunity for different leadership opportunities, whether it's for executive board members or as the student chapter as a whole for all the ship members that want to partake in those opportunities. You also want to have a sustained chapter initiative as well. So not only you want to make new ideas, but you also want to make sure that you also do different events that you guys typically do for your student chapter, whether it's a professional development event, which is, bring in different companies or do some type of skill workshop to enhance your guys' skills and networking opportunities, whether it's a mentorship event or cross-chapter collaboration with other student organizations. And as well, you want to preserve knowledge, right? As you may know, like even though it's 1 year, it kind of goes by fast. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what you guys are doing, but you also want to pass on that knowledge every year for the new executive board member, just because there will be different ideas, different people, and maybe some of them don't have that much knowledge about certain things, and you want to share those knowledge and pass on to the next generation, next generation. So that's everlasting cycle. So that way they're well equipped and they can enhance the student chapter to the next level.
So, what are the benefits of planning ahead? So, when you plan your events ahead of time, you create these impactful and unforgettable, fun events for your members and the community reps and the other chapters you are partnering with and the other school organizations as well. Some major events that we had this school year was our general body meetings. We tried to have at least three per semester where we bring everyone and we invite everyone out and we have fun games and food, and it's just a fun moment for all of us to reconnect with one another. We also had mentorship. We had Shiptina events. I was in charge of the community outreach event. One big event that I created this past school year was that we were the first Latinx group to participate in creating our own shack. And we had to build it ourselves and we had to stay in the shack 24/7. And throughout the day, we were raising funds for Habitat for Humanity. We had the Mixer RTP Fair where we collaborated with different companies and different school chapters to come out and participate and get interviewed and talk to company representatives. Also, another benefit of doing that is you get sponsorship and funding from these companies. These companies' schedule is all year around. So talking to them ahead of time allows you guys to align each other's schedule and calendars. So you guys can figure out what events you guys can do together, what sponsorship package they want to have. So it just creates that open line of communication with these companies. Also, member engagement and retention by creating these events ahead of time, you're able to present a calendar to your members where they can see upcoming events so they can plan around to make sure they attend those events, that the ones that they want to, allowing us to have good events and a good number. Also, our Google Calendar is very organized and color coded because we share that with our members and the companies. So by keeping it organized and color coded for each member, they're able to easily see the events that they wish to participate in. And then collaborating with other organizations, having that open line of communication to see what type of events you guys do wish to do, because each organization has their own things, but to see what day works for the both of you to collaborate to create a fun event for each organization is very important as well.
Yeah. So I know we've been talking about planning certain things around, like what type of events you guys want to have, but I know some of you guys might be thinking, when is the best time to plan all of this out, right? The best time to plan this out is during the summer. The reason why is because there's not a lot of stuff to do. You have more free time than if you were to plan during the fall. So I know last year was when I was, when I took charge of it, it was the first time playing out during the summer, and it was a little bit more effective, and it was pretty much easier for us to kind of have a grasp of exactly what type of events we would like to see. And then by the time the fall semester started, we hit the ground going with the events, and then we have all the events ready, so that way we can focus more on the bigger projects or the bigger initiatives we want to implement for our student chapter. So typically when we do our summer planning, we do bi-weekly meetings. I've seen other student chapters, they wait till like midsummer or the last month of summer vacation to plan everything out. Whatever works for your student chapter works, but this is kind of like how we did things last year. So first thing first, we do our first meeting. We kind of go by the leadership roles and responsibilities. So we have the old e-board and the new e-board be on the call. And then we kind of go over exactly like what things that worked for the transitions. So that way, if there's any questions that the new executive board members have, they can ask on the spot. And it kind of gives it more leniency just because there's a lot more free time, but it also gives it more time to kind of give us a better grasp on the skills that we do need. So I know some executive board members are new, so maybe they're not accustomed to setting up different meetings or following up certain procedure. It kind of gives them more time for them to flesh out their skills. So that way, when the fall or once the school year starts, they have that under their belt and they can be efficient as much as they can and try to establish set like chapter goals and priorities. I know last year we want to do a lot more community outreach initiatives. That's what Angie did last year as community outreach chair. Talking to different nonprofits, reaching out to other local high school to try to have the talks to establishing the SHIP junior chapter, or if we want to do chapter collaboration with other SHIP chapters, try to reach out to them ahead of time. So those are like type of goal settings that we had, and priorities, figuring exactly like how can we be effective as much as we can, right? And like Angie was mentioning, right, that we keep everything in a nice organized calendar. So that way we don't overcommit ourselves too much within like a certain day or week. We try to flesh out as much as we can, and also kind of help our members out as well, like what are the events coming up that following week, and to put it on the calendar as well. And then when the fall hits, right, when school starts, we typically try to host our GBMs or general body meeting that first 2 weeks. So that way everyone is kind of ready, kind of amped up for the fall semester, whether you're a new member or a returning member. Just get back with the Chef Familia. We try to finalize logistics for early events to figure out like what are some ways we can enhance our events and to have good results from member attention, like member participation as well. And we try to maintain good communication. I know typically we academics do come up every once in a while, but and other personal stuff comes up, right? But as long as you have good communication with the executive board, we try to help each other out as much as we can, so that way we don't fall short. And as well, we try to follow up on bigger projects. So a lot of those big initiatives that we did last year, we want to make sure that we take some time into trying to make sure those type of work become to reality, right? So that's the best time to plan certain things out.
So now we'll be moving on to elections.
So elections, this typically happens in the spring semester, and it's pretty symbolic just because you're halfway through the finish mark, right, of your term, and by the time it's spring semester, your term is about to be done, and you might be thinking, when should we start having election, or when should we start worrying about elections? I think the best time to think about is probably during winter break, um, the fall semester or the beginning of the spring semester to start thinking about it. Just because I know the fall semester you typically have convention, you do all your big events, right? Your GBM, your professional development events, and then you have finals. Just start thinking about like after the fall semester ends, so that way when you hit the spring semester going, you kind of have an idea like when you want to have the election dates going. So I think it's best practice to have it by early January. It could be different for some students, chapters. You don't have to think about early January, but that's kind of like an idea that worked best for us. Just because it kind of gives them an idea of like what kind of update information we need to have for all the positions, nomination, and election procedures that we want to have. And from there, we kind of have like another e-board meeting just to make sure that, like any of the new proceed changes that we want to implement, executive board and the chapter advisor is aware of it. And when we did this past fall, not past fall, past spring, we try to have everything done by end of January, and we got the final approval by early February or mid-February. So that way we announce like the procedures, how the election is going to work, and then we transition from there. Uh, we also try to do that as well because SHIP national deadline is April 15th. Why is it April 15th? First thing first, you want to have enough time to do your chapter transition before the end of the semester slash the school year. Just because like if you try to wait any time after that, you have finals, and a lot of people will be either those people might be graduating or summer break is going to happen. So you want to have enough time to do those transition early on to ask those questions, and you want to make sure that you update and the new e-board for the following year to Ship National, so that way they can communicate with the new e-board for any type of updates they want to send out later on, right? So that's kind of like the main idea of what election timeline should be.
So these are our procedure and guidelines. So you have to be in good academic and disciplinary standing. You have to be a full-time student, but that does not mean you can't have a co-op because we want to give the opportunity to those who have a co-op within the area around the Raleigh-Durham area. So you guys can also have the opportunity to participate. You have to have at least a 2.0 cumulative GPA, and we know that's kind of low compared to other universities, but there's a purpose behind that. You want to give our members the opportunity to have that leadership experience so they can talk about it when they have the interviews and put that on their resume. And we understand and know that life happens and sometimes the semester doesn't go the way you want it to. So your GPA does fluctuate. So that is why it's kind of low. But our nominees must complete their application, and they have to pay their national and chapter dues by the deadline of the application that we give them. The application lets us know what position you wish to run for and why you are a good fit. And if you wish to run for either the president or VP, you need to have at least a year of e-board experience under your belt. And there's a reason behind that because having a year within the e-board gives you the experience, the knowledge, and I guess you have an idea of the type of responsibilities it takes to have a leadership position like that. And so that we're not having anyone just get thrown out in open waters in a position like that. And you also have the opportunity to change things you want to and improve on certain things that you wish to improve on. So yeah.
So Angie kind of give you kind of like a general consensus of the procedure of the guidelines. There's kind of like more the expectation guidelines for, for all executive board member within the student chapter. I know for our chapter, you are required to attend a weekly e-board meetings. It's typically once a week, typically in the evening. We get together, have a 1 hour meeting, and get everything started with business. We understand that some people may not attend due to scheduling conflicts, so we try to cooperate whether we do hybrid, in person and virtual, or virtual depending on the situation. But as long as we have good communication skills, if you can't attend, that's totally fine. But it's very important to have communication skills to know exactly what are your updates on the reports. And if you have any questions or anything we need clarified, we can talk outside the meeting as well. And same thing, like we are expected to attend every general body meetings or GBMs, if applicable. Same thing. If there's a scheduling conflict, as long as we communicate, totally fine. And the third part is also plan and execute chapter events throughout the academic year. What that means is that you earn this position for a reason. You said what you said during your election, what you want to do for election, if given the opportunity. So it's your time to kind of take initiative on the events you want to host or ideas you want to incorporate. Start doing that, right? Like everyone ideas and opinions do matter in these e-board meetings on how the shift chapter is managing, right? So just making sure everything is being upheld, and then you also execute those events as much as possible. And the fourth bullet point, this is pretty new that we started last year under my leadership, but basically you must not serve or hold another leadership position in another student organization on campus. The reason why we implemented this past year is because of two reasons. The first one is that because our ship chapter is growing significantly large, we want to make sure that first we have good chapter sustainability on the growth. So that way we have good participation with our members. We're doing what we have to do. And the second part is that we don't want anyone to be overwhelmed with having too many commitments going on, right? Like think of it as like a full-time job. You want to give 100% on the position, on one position, right? Rather than stretch yourself out too thin with two or three leadership positions that you're not giving each of them 100%. So we want to make sure that one, you're doing a great job in your position, and two, like not stress yourself too much with too many commitments going on. So that's kind of like the main reason why we implemented last year, and it's been working out greatly for each of us and for the new executive board as well.
So now we'll talk about the timeline. So this past summer semester, we had two open e-board meetings, one in person and one virtually due to a snowstorm. But we allowed and welcomed any members who wanted to sit in and listen to us have our e-board meetings. We continued as normal. And at the very end, we invited everyone who stayed on to discuss boos and woos. That's something that we do at the end. But it just gives our members like an idea of what our meetings look like. And then additionally, we had an interest e-board meeting where each of the e-board positions created a presentation slide where they discussed their roles and responsibilities so that our members could get a better feel for what that position looks like. And they were welcome to ask any questions, and we were there to answer any questions or clarify anything. And that was later in February and early March, we had that meeting.
Yeah. So after you have the interest meeting, that's when you start releasing applications or joining the executive board. And typically it happens on the next general body meeting or ship event. We release the application. Ours is in a Google form. I know other student chapter do something similar to us, but we do nominations based on that. So you can nominate yourself or you can nominate someone else for the position. It's kind of like a quick survey of like like have your information in there. Also, like what type of position you're interested in, and the spill why you want to run for this particular position. And then typically you have like 2 weeks to fill it out. And then from there, we close the application, right? And from there, we have our administrative officer or secretary try to examine everything, just make sure that you know for any positions they meet the qualifications. So that includes president and vice president being serving for at least 1 year in term, and as well for grad student, being a grad student as well. So we try to make sure everything is legit, and then from there we send a notification on everyone who filled the form. We send them a presentation slide, one slide presentation for them to be create as much as they want for election day / town hall. And then for that specific day, that's when we do that's kind of like their spill of why they want to run for this particular position, XYZ. I know some student chapters do Q&A. For ours, we don't do that. It's like a 5 minute max pitch for everyone, and then we move on to the next person. Just because we do want to respect everyone's time, and any follow ups, like we can talk, like they typically talk about that after the town hall / election day.
So our voting period is about 72 hours, and it's short to give our members some time to make a decision. Us doing it over Zoom gives the members an opportunity to watch it virtually if they're somewhere else on campus. And it gives us the chance to record it for the people who couldn't attend the presentation so they could make a decision based on that. So that's why we give about 3 days for them to make a decision. And after everyone has submitted their votes, our advisor and either the president or administrative officer goes through the results, and they see if there are any ties. If there are ties, we have to have a tiebreaker. So we open that form up again, and we have people select between the two people who tied, and we give them about 24 hours to make that new decision. And then once that is over, usually the final results are a little before finals or during finals. And we give the people who did get selected the opportunity to confirm with us within 24 hours if they do wish to have that position. And if they do, that's great. And then we announce the new e-board on our social media, and it allows us to contact those new people who got that position for transitions.
Yeah. So campaigning within our studentship chapter, I know it's a bit different for other student chapters, um, but every chapter is different. But more specific from our student chapter, we typically don't campaign through social media. We try to do it more like internal. It's more within the chapter, like your your work is define what you're trying to input to the chapter. So we tried, like I mentioned before, try not to use social media for personal campaigning. So like that includes our chapter group me, WhatsApp, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We can't use any of the ship chapters logos or national logo. And even though like everyone's competing for the position, at the end of the day, we're all ship members. We try to be respectful for anyone running positions. Just because like we're all ship family at the end of the day, right? And then same thing like for during election day, all nominees will present a 5 minute max presentation. So you'll have one slide. You will try to be very creative with that one slide. I've seen some presentations is more analytical or statistic wise. They have like a bunch of numbers, more database. Others are, I've seen some that were very, very crafty, like artistic wise. There's some that put a lot of pictures. So you can be as creative as much as you like with that slide. And it's actually good. It's good because it kind of gives you like more creativity, but as well give you the opportunity to speak, enhance your public speaking skills on like why you want the position and what can you do to enhance the ship chapter for the next following year.
So the voting period, so after everyone presents, we have a QR code where we present, and then each member will scan that QR code, and within that QR code, there is a form that everyone fills out, letting us know who they want for each position. And for your vote to be considered as a member, you need to pay your national and chapter dues and use your school email. And like I said previously, the voting usually lasts about 3 days for you to make that decision.
Yeah. So after we finish up the voting, we close the voting, right? And from there, the chapter president, the chapter advisor will have 1 week to schedule a meeting to verify all the votes. So the way it worked is that this past spring, we had our election at the end of March. So basically I have 1 week. So I had the end of the first week of April to set a meeting with the advisor and verify all the votes, like who paid their chapter due, not their chapter dues, their national dues, who is an active ship member, all that logistics. And then from there, once we verify everything, we verify the votes, and then that's where I contact the individual, the respective winners individually. But we also, during that meeting, we also address like if there's any misconduct presented during election day. And then from there, we notified them. Um, and then they have 24 hours, like Angie mentioned. And then from there, once I get full confirmation from all the respective positions and committees, and it will make a public announcement and then go from there.
So these are our best transition practices that we've used throughout the year. We each year we update the current role descriptions to make sure that everyone's role is up to date, making sure that no one is doing more than what they should be doing, or no one isn't getting credit for the new stuff that they're putting on their role. And we also have this transition binder. And within that transition binder, we have a Google document that we get from nationals where we walk through each of the sections with our new person who is replacing us. I did mine with my community outreach chair, and within that document, I had a ton of resources to give and advice. I opened up the chapter Google folder to them, and within that, they were able to see my community outreach folder where they were able to open and click on it and able to see all the documents, all the planning outlines, all my presentations I did to the high schools, my Excel sheets. I also gave them a list of all the contacts I contacted throughout the year, all the high schoolers, all the principals, all the advisors I contacted, the nonprofit organizations, the people I contacted to host the Dia de Ciencias that we had as well. I also gave them access to an Excel sheet where for each activity, added all the supplies, roughly how much it costs to get the supplies, how to go about doing the activity with the high school students, any comments I had regarding the activity afterwards, like what I would change, what I would improve in. I also had another Excel sheet for each event that I did. I put down the name of all the volunteers who came out to make sure that they were awarded the points because we have a point system as well, so that they were given credit for coming out as well. So this is very important to do this early on. So the people that are transitioning usually are graduating or have internships. So people get really busy throughout the summer. So that's why we try to do this before the school ends. So we're able to ask all the questions, get all that information, really set the next person up. Whatever was our ceiling, we really want that to be their floor. So we are always leveling up our ship chapter and improving and making it better. So that's the advice that we would give to you guys.
Yeah. And also like there's also different resources whenever we talk about whenever we do transitions. Like aside from like all the chapter stuff that we have, we also try to share context that we know. Like Angie mentioned, like all the nonprofits, all the student organizations, but we also try to share like all the contact within SHIP. So like if they have any question for like expansion for or like anything with SHIP Junior related, we send them to the respective RGR, the regional junior representative, or the regional team as well. Any sponsors or any of the any of the faculties that we know here on NC State campus, and anything that we try to teach them, like all the lesson learns, right? Like the things that worked for us that they should definitely keep on doing, and things that we can definitely improve upon. Like learn from our mistakes and try to enhance that experience. I think that's part of engineering, right? Like you will figure exactly what works, what could definitely be work and better. But at the end of the day, like you're trying to make the same impact as everyone else is doing. So it's good practice, and everyone brings different ideas and skills to the table, and from there you're trying to make the best year as much as you can, and then repeat the cycle over and over again. So, and yeah.
Yeah, and also something else that I forgotten to mention was that what I know that I did in the corporate sponsorship chair was that we created different emails to everyone we've contacted throughout the year and added this new person so they could get into direct contact with them. And you let them know that you're passing on or changing roles, just to update the schools and the companies, letting them know who's the new person of contact. So everyone is aware of these new changes as well.
And yeah, that concludes our workshop today. We appreciate you guys tuning in on our workshop. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your NELA CCLP/President Summit, and hope to see you guys at National Convention.